Hi everyone, I'm Joe. Today it's time for me to do my summer 2021 book haul. I have not done a book haul since November 2020, so it's been quite a while, and some people might expect, me included, that this book haul would actually be absolutely enormous with many dozens of books. But I'm quite pleased that I have actually managed to restrain myself, to a certain level anyway, in the last 6 months, and keep the number relatively under control. And I've managed to both meet interesting and varied books in the last 6 months. And the first of them is one that I have talked about this author on several occasions, and that being G Ballard with Crash. Now, if you've watched previous videos by me in the past, over the last quite a few years now, you know that every now and again I have read a book by Ballard, and even though that I don't always understand the plot line and the grander message that he's trying to say in the books, I've always been very positive about his writing style and just the way he's trying to get the ideas across, even though I might not understand them fully myself. It's his writing style somehow speaks to me, it works for me on a fundamental level, and I've really enjoyed his books and his novels. And this one is quite simply a guy who has a very traumatic experience when he witnesses a very gruesome, bloody car accident right in front of him one day when he's walking down the road. This gives him fairly traumatic stress, obviously like PTSD, and essentially he then gets somewhat obsessed with wanting to experience this firsthand on multiple occasions, and also he wants to experience it himself. He wants to actually have a car accident where he almost but not actually dies. So this is a dark, disturbing book. It will probably have some fairly significant and major points that Ballard is always very good at writing about, and even though it may be very dark and quite grim in places, which doesn't always work for me, the writing will almost certainly make it at least an interesting experience, if nothing else. The second book that I am going to talk about is one that is MM9 Monster Magnitude by Hiroshi Yamamoto. Now, Hiroshi Yamamoto is an author that I've mentioned before because I think it was 2 years ago now I read the stories of Ibis by him. This was a short story collection which I absolutely loved. It actually made my favourite books of that year, and I've been wanting to read something else by him ever since. The reason I bought this one was, other than the author, is because this is by the same publisher as that book, Heika Saru, and I've read quite a few of their books now, and their books have generally worked out very well. They're a very small independent publisher, no longer publishing anymore sadly. They specialise in Japanese to English translations, and all I know about this one is Japan is being besieged by giant monsters, and there is a special government department of some kind called the MMD, which essentially have to deal with this. So think of kind of like a Ghostbusters in Japan, but for giant kaiju type monsters rather than ghosts. I have no idea what else to expect from it, but it's going to be pretty strange and probably fairly mad and hopefully fun as a result. The next book I'm going to talk about is Glass and Gardens Solarpunk Summer, edited by Serena Olibari. Now, I have previously, about 2 years ago, read and talked about the previous short story collection by Olibari, which had a very similar name, which was Glass and Gardens Solarpunk Summer. This is the winter edition. I think it's a different seasonal name. And the idea of this is very simple. It's a short story collection by a pile of authors that I have almost certainly never heard of, same as the first book. And the idea is Solarpunk is a very specialised, quite narrow focused subgenre within science fiction, that specialises in renewable energy resources, obviously hence solar energy amongst others, and it stories with that as the primary theme. And this, I don't have any idea what to expect because the authors will be definitely unknown to me almost across the board, but the first collection I really enjoyed. This will be equally enjoyable with interesting ideas, interesting new voices that I've never heard of before, and honestly I may never hear from them again, although I'd be quite happy to hear from them again. And overall this is going to be a very interesting collection to read, and I'm quite eager to read this in the very near future. The next book is an author that I have read a few books by before, though his books haven't worked out that well for me, honestly, and that is Pushing Ice by Alistair Reynolds. Now this is a standalone book by him, not part of any other series. This I've been wanting to read for a good few years now, primarily because two people that I know, Rachel and Catherine, have read this and they've thought very positively about it, and I trust their opinions. This is an interesting one where it's something to do with a human empire that's obviously expanded out from Earth, something like that, where we need more resources to essentially keep adapting, keep expanding. And this is about the title, Pushing Ice. We need ice for production of certain resources. This is a large ship that goes out and basically gathers large quantities of ice from asteroids and moons and such. And something happens when they're going out to collect some ice. They discover something and some kind of event from there. I cannot remember the synopsis too heavily, and frankly I want to keep this a bit of a surprise, but it should be positive. I mean, Rachel and Catherine both read it and thought of it well, so I have no doubt this will be a very interesting read overall. The next book is actually one of the only books in this entire book haul that I have already actually read, only fairly recently, and that is The Doors of Eden by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Now, he is an author that has become quite well known on BookTube, specifically BookTube SFF, in the last year or two, because obviously Children of Time and Children of Ruin. He's an award-winning author. He's won quite a few awards at this point, and he'll almost certainly win more in the future because his books are pretty remarkable and his writing style is amazing as well. This one is quite a curious book. I mean, I've read it and I may well do a separate review of it anyway, so I don't want to say too much now. Suffice to say, 4 years before the 4 years, sorry, not 40, 4 years before the book sort of starts fully, two young women go to the Bodmin moors to hunt for mythical beings and such. One of them goes missing and nobody knows what happens to her, and the book starts spiraling outwards from there because it's based very much on the idea of multiverse theory, where it's not just one world that we live in entirely. There are multiple worlds sort of stacked right next to one another, and if you know how, you can go through the doors, hence the title, to different alternate realities essentially, which is classic multiverse theory. And this takes it in a very interesting way, which I'll talk about more in a separate video, but I really like this book and I was very excited to get to this, hence why I've already read it at this point. The next book is also by Adrian Tchaikovsky, and this actually was a birthday present from my big sister recently, and that is Shards of Earth. Now, I have no idea what this book is about at all, so I will read the synopsis in the flap inside the book. In the depths of space, a monster awakes. 80 years ago, Earth was destroyed by an alien architect. That's unfortunate. Some escaped, but millions more died. So to protect its colonies, humanity reshaped volunteers' minds to repel the enemy and sent them into battle. Then the architects disappeared. Now the heroes of the war have been forgotten, and Idris, one of those heroes is gotta be. He was remade into a weapon, neither aging nor sleeping, but he's been allowed to retire to a shabby salvage vessel working the edges of known space until this small ship makes a huge discovery. Hunted by gangsters, governments and spies, Idris and his allies race across the galaxy searching for answers, for they have found something of incalculable value that many would kill to obtain, obviously. They have proved the architects are back, and that the war never really ended. So obviously a sort of evil alien species destroys mankind, and I know this is the start of a series which I think maybe at least 3 books planned. Could be longer, I do not know too much. This is a book that is very unknown to me. I've not actually heard about this at all. I mean, but this will be very interesting and doubtless brilliantly well written because it's Tchaikovsky and he keeps working out for me time and time again. So I've got a lot of faith in him as an author by this point. So I'm very happy to have this, and thanks to my sister as well for giving me this. So that is it for all of the standalone novels that I'm going to talk about today. Now on to all of the books that are part of ongoing series, trilogies or whatever. The first of these is Turning Darkness into Light by Marie Brennan. Now this is the 6th book in the Lady Trent series. That was a 5-book series based around, surprisingly, the character of Lady Trent. This is essentially not a full part of the series as such. This is more like an extra additional book added on to the end, because this is following the daughter of Lady Trent. And I know very little about it, and to be honest, I don't really want to know too much about it because I greatly enjoyed that 5-book series. I did a separate review of it, in fact, and I want to go into this relatively unknown because otherwise I might spoil it for myself. Although I will say the synopsis, which is, as the renowned granddaughter of Isabella Camhurst, Lady Trent of the riveting and daring draconic adventure memoirs, Audrey Camhurst has always known she, too, would want to make her scholarly mark upon a chosen field of study. When Lord Glenlee recruits Audrey to decipher a series of ancient tablets holding the secrets of the ancient draconian civilization, she has no idea that her research will plunge her into an intricate conspiracy, one meant to incite rebellion and invoke war. Alongside Dewey's childhood friend and fellow archaeologist Kudchayan, she must find proof of the conspiracy before it's too late. This again is going to be a sort of an adventure with interesting character development, probably not too much focus on dragons, because it may be, the idea of it is there are dragons exist in this world and they are sort of very much into discovering information about dragons throughout the series, but actually you don't see dragons very much in the series. It's kind of strange in that way. So I will expect this will be well written, it's an interesting idea, and I will probably enjoy it. So yeah, I'm quite positive about this one. The next book that I bought is one that I've been meaning to try for some time, and that is because the 3rd book in what is a trilogy has just been released. It was just about to, and that is Velocity Weapon, written by Megan O'Keefe. Now this is a science fiction trilogy. I've only bought the 1st book for now because I do not know too much about the author, and she's not an author that has got lots of books out, so I can't delve into her back history and investigate what other people may have read, what other people may think as a result. I will read the synopsis, and that is: the last thing Sandra remembers is a gunship exploding. Unfortunate. She expected to be recovered by salvage medics and to awaken in friendly hands, patched up and ready to rejoin the fight. Instead, she wakes up 230 years later on a deserted enemy starship called the Light of Belarus, or as he prefers to call himself, Vero. Vero tells Sandra the war is lost, that the entire star system is dead. That's unfortunate, and that's one hell of a bad night's sleep. 230 years and you wake up and get told that everybody and everything that you know is destroyed. So basically, somebody having a very bad day. Well, that's just me being sarcastic, but obviously there's going to be big conspiracies, and obviously it's on board a sentient AI spaceship of some kind by the sound of it. So this will be interesting and quite fun, and very much it sounds like my sort of thing, frankly. So I have no doubt that this will be a fun, enjoyable read. And the next book is actually an entire trilogy, and that is an author that is very familiar to anybody that has watched my channel for any length of time, and frankly anybody that is watching this video, because it's by that author. Yes, Peter Hamilton again. Now I've bought this trilogy now because the third book, this one, has only just been released, literally only a matter of weeks ago by the time you're watching this video, and I've been waiting for that to be released so I can then buy all 3 books in one go and read all through them. By the time that you watch this video, I will almost certainly have read this trilogy because I've been very much looking forward to it. I have read every other book that Hamilton has written, and now I will be up to date. All I know about this particular trilogy, I do not want to know too much at this moment, although I will know before much longer, is that this is set in a world that isn't one of his pre-existing worlds like the Great Commonwealth, which was in the Void trilogy, one of the others. It is unrelated to every other novel. It is a large galaxy-spanning civilization like those trilogies, however, uses different technology and such. And basically there is an alien species in it that seems to be very beneficial and benevolent to mankind. Humans don't trust it, and they are suspicious of it because why is this alien civilization so altruistic? Why are they so nice to us? And there's some sort of big conspiracy behind the scenes, and obviously this is a trilogy by Hamilton, so there'll be a large cast of characters, a large variety of locations and conspiracies and twists and turns all over the place, and certainly artificial intelligences, advanced humans with various bionics and advanced medical technology inside them, like brain implants and such, which is Hamilton's stock in trade, and I am very interested to get to these. And the name of the actual 3 books in question and the sequence is Salvation Sequence, and they are Salvation, Salvation Lost, and The Saints of Salvation. So you really can't mistake which sequence this series is made of. Salvation. Finally. Next up, I have another trilogy, this time by an author that I have never tried before, though I have actually read the first in this trilogy already a few months ago, and I finally got around to buying the second and third books, and that is the Wormwood trilogy written by Tade Thompson, which is Rosewater, Rosewater Insurrection, and Rosewater Redemption. And other than the fact that these books are beautiful covers, personally, I mean, yes, they're simple because they're just the name of the book written down with a colourful background. I just think they work really well together. This is essentially the idea of there is an alien, or at least an alien appearing entity in Nigeria. The government and the people there have made a city called Rosewater around this alien structure, alien creature. Nobody really knows too much about it, and let's just say things start spiraling outwards when people start investigating it. Some people find it useful to have there, some people are terrified of it because they don't know what it can do. It can heal you, but it can also mutate you and turn you into essentially some monstrous, horrible creature, and you'll be suffering immensely for the rest of your life. It's totally unknown and totally random, apparently. So it's interesting where this is going to go, I suspect, because I've read the first one, which was brilliant, and now I've got the second and third, which this is going to be a very interesting trilogy to read, because where Tade Thompson is taking these, I do not know. I don't know the author that well, and actually I like the fact that I don't know the author well, because it means I'm in the absolute dark, which means it's going to be even more fun, because I've got no expectations prior to this, none at all, which will be fun. And the final set of books either not a trilogy, but they are by a very familiar author, and that is, oh yes, Terry Pratchett, because these are 3 books within the Discord Library Collector's Edition line. Every other Discord book other than these 3 and 2 others have been published in these editions. For some reason, the Tiffany books, of which there are 5 in total, these are the first 3, which is the character sub-series within the Discord. There was a rights issue essentially with these 5 books with another publisher, and the publisher of these couldn't actually publish them in this edition until now. They've finally obviously come to some sort of agreement, or maybe some sort of publishing right has expired and now they can access them. So now they have published these 5 in editions that match the rest of the Discord Collector's Edition line, which I've got all the others of, and they also match each other, because this is the We Three Men, that is Tiffany Aching with a frying pan, as you do. A hat full of sky, where Tiffany is wearing a hat, which is both, although very purple as well, but it's all dead dark, so I haven't read these by the way before as well. And Wintersmith, again Tiffany Aching wearing holding a rose in fact. The final 2 Tiffany Aching novels are being released this September, which is pretty good timing, because I'll be I'm reading through all of the Discord novels at 1 a week and reviewing them. I have a feeling it will be about November when I actually get to those novels, and I'll be reading these 3 around September. So this is pretty convenient timing for me, and I am really happy beyond belief that within a few months I will finally have every single Discord novel in perfect matching editions for the first time in my life, which, if you know me by now, you'll know that Discord in Terry Pratchett means an awful lot to me on a very personal level. I literally learnt to read on Terry Pratchett, so these are important books, and I'm extremely happy that I've got these. I really am. I have never actually read any of the Tiffany Aching books though, because my reading of the Discord stopped right before the first of these years ago, because my collection of Discord books had become broken between different hardbacks and different paperbacks, so I kind of stopped reading them until I could fix it. Now I can. I'm very looking forward to finally experiencing these. So with that said, that is it for all of the books that I have bought within the last 6 months. If you have read any of these or would like to, or just as importantly and just as interestingly for me, if you have any suggestions for books that you think I might enjoy based on any of these, then please leave a comment. I'm always eager and happy to get into new books and new authors. I will leave links to the Goodreads books of all of these in the description box below, along with my social media links. And that said, that is it for this video. So thank you for watching. I'll see you another day. Bye for now.